Welcome back to Thursday Thoughts with Jake. This week we're talking to Krista Thomas, head bartender of the Homestead Omni Resort in Virginia. We're going to be talking about what's her favorite cocktail, their cocktail menu, and why you should go. So make sure the next time you're looking for a home away from home or a new resort, check out the Omni Homestead, and you're going to hear more from Krista Thomas now. Before we get going on any of that, two things. First and foremost, what is your favorite cocktail to drink and make? And the second thing is, how did you become a bartender? You can answer that in any order you want.
Okay. All right. Favorite cocktail to drink? That's like the hardest question that guests ask me that you're going to ask me probably today, because there are hundreds and hundreds of cocktails to choose from. And it's like, how do you choose a favorite, you know? So I prefer my palate. I prefer something a little more sour. I typically like to go for a whiskey sour with like a nice egg white shake. I do love it like traditional daiquiri. You can't go wrong with the classics, the traditional drinks, you know, and whether you riff on those and play off of them or do them how they're meant to be done, you know, traditionally, you can't go wrong. Favorite drink to make? Again, I love doing stuff with an egg white shake. Anything that you can do, like a fun garnish that kind of lays on top of the foam. Espresso martinis, I love to do like a chocolate design, you know, something that when the guest gets the drink, their very first thing is a fixture. You know, the first thing they want to do is take the photo.
One of the more interesting things that I heard about that was like a flip as well, right? Doesn't that include an egg white as well?
The flip has the entire egg.
The entire egg, that's what it is.
Egg in it. You'll find them, typically I see them in like a custardy style, more of like a desserty style drink, but they have tons of variation. So flip has the yolk as well as the white.
That's it's crazy to think about all the different variations you can do with the ingredients and how you can slightly change them to create a whole different experience within the drink.
Yeah, it's awesome. It really is.
And so you have this experience and you enjoy a cocktail from time to time responsibly, right? As we all do as adults. But how did you get into this profession of crafting cocktails?
Right. So I was actually working here at the Homestead. This has been probably 10 years ago. And it was my first job in hospitality. I was working at the spa as a receptionist. I knew nothing about beverage. And I had a friend who worked at a different resort at the time, and she was in food and bev. And she just said, you know, we really need bartenders and we'll train you if you want to do this. And so I went and I learned and I loved it. And I was at that resort for a couple of years. I went to another hotel, nice hotel for a while, and then found my way back to the Homestead, and I've been here for about 4 years now as the lead bartender, beverage supervisor for the resort.
Well, that seems like a big weighty experience that you have to do. And that leads me right into the almighty question, right? You're at a resort and the Omnis are known for having an elevated experience, no matter if it's the one here in Louisville, Kentucky, or the Homestead, or many of the locations around the country and world. How do you go about these seasonal menus or these, you know, what stays on as staples, right? Like that's kind of what kind of gets my head spinning, really, because you go look at the menu and you're like, how do they continue to come up with riffs on riffs on riffs?
Yep. Definitely, like you said, regionally, your cocktails are going to change, and where people's palates and their flavor profiles will change so much. So I think that our corporate Omni does this incredible job of hiring mixologists to curate these really incredible drink menus that have everything, right? They have this huge variety and very, very balanced cocktails where you're not getting hit with too much bitter, too much sweet. But then as the bartender, you have the leeway if you need to make something sweeter or bitter, right? You can take your measurements and things like that. And then, you know, I'm here in like the heart of Appalachia. It's so nice to use the local flavors, right? To curate your own menu that's just here at the Homestead. It's not at every single Omni resort. So we have tons of play with how we can do that and really deliver like a curated experience to our guests here. People travel from all over the world. They want a taste of like Appalachia, you know?
Well, for sure. And Appalachia gets talked about a lot, sometimes from a negative perspective, just because it's kind of a crazy area, right? Eastern Kentucky, Western Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, in West Virginia even. And the crazy thing is about the flavors, right? Like one flavor I'm going to ask you about, right, from a craft cocktail creation is sorghum, right? I feel like that's very uniquely Appalachian. So do you all use sorghum, or have you ever used sorghum in the past?
I've used sorghum in the past in cocktails. Right now, I'm not using it in anything, but that is definitely a flavor that people haven't even heard, necessarily heard of. Yeah, so it's uniquely to us. You know, I love using local flavors. Maple here, one county up, we're in Bath County, Virginia, here at the Homestead. One county up from Highland, They're known for the huge maple festival they have every year. It's like a product that is so readily available in the
For
area.
sure.
It's the best of the best. Our blackberries that are grown local, all these jams and things that people make, so fun to add in. And that's how you get all these riffs on riffs of all these cocktails, these little flavors.
It is. It's kind of crazy. And I would have never known what sorghum was if my aunt and uncle didn't live in Eastern Kentucky at a time. And they had this thing called the Willy Worm Festival as well as the Sorghum Festival all together.
Okay.
And it's like you go and taste sorghum and you're like, what is this?
What
Like,
is this? Yeah, I've never
what is
had
this kind of like molassesy syrup
Yeah.
grain concoction that they've made? And
Works
it's
so
actually,
well
you know,
with
pretty
whiskey.
good. It's pretty unique, but it's definitely interesting. And so you can create a lot of flavors with a lot of different things. And I love local flavors. I feel like that is what people are big on. They're going to pay a little bit more for that local experience as well. So if you can bolster the cocktail, then they're going to be willing to say, oh, that's unique here. I can't get it anywhere else. Let's try to make it. And they'll probably start a good conversation with the bartender on how they did make
Absolutely.
the drink. I have to ask this as a bourbon person, right? You know, obviously there's two main drinks that every bourbon lover will kind of call easily, right? Old fashioned Manhattan. Those are super simple. It'll keep you going. But is there another cocktail that you see commonly called that involves bourbon or rye whiskey that you kind of have made your all's own there at the homestead?
So I'll say at our presidential lounge, which is our lobby bar,
Yeah.
when we're fully open seasonally, we have about 10 bars here on property.
Whew.
So our lobby bar is the presidential lounge. That's going to be like your craft cocktail loungy area, no TVs, very speakeasy kind of feel. One of our top sellers is our whiskey sour. We've just made it super duper craft, what it should be anywhere, right? But just fresh lemon, simple syrup, egg white, a little bit of Peychaud's bitters in there, bourbon of choice. We have some incredible homestead private barrel selections. So that's like our drink. It's not even on our menu. It's just what people come to that bar to get, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have like, you know, people know what to come in and call for too. And, you know, Virginia actually has some really nice whiskey producers and bourbon producers, which is really fun because there's a lot of heritage, right? Going back to Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and all the people from that area that would produce a ton of whiskey. And so I think that's one of the cool things too, is you can pull from that history. Kentucky and Virginia, both commonwealths, were once one giant state until they broke apart. So there's a lot of good things that happen, you know, there in the state. And then there's been this switching gears, right? We talked about the bourbon and whiskey cocktail, and I think whiskey sour is something I've never even called. So next time I go to a bar, that's what I'm going to call. But the rise in espresso martinis, I just have to ask this question. I don't drink coffee at all. What do you think of the espresso martini?
Okay, so I know that standardly bartenders hate the espresso martini. It's like the mojito, you know, it's like, oh, I don't like to make them. They are top 3 seller at my bar. We do 3 different riffs. Well, it's standard. We do 2 different riffs, and then we do one with a reposado. We do one with bourbon. They all sell well. I love making them, but we're like lucky because we have this incredible coffee shop at the end of the hall that brings me like huge batches of espresso. So I'm not having to go shot by shot. It's really nice. I love the espresso martini. I'm a huge coffee drinker, and I will continue to order them even though I know it's a hated cocktail.
Well, is interesting. So from a technical standpoint, why do people not like to make them?
Because it's brewing the espresso, right? It takes time. So if you're having to pull shot for shot, I totally understand that it's like annoying. But a traditional espresso martini is just going to have 3 ingredients: vodka, Kahlua, espresso. Shake it really nice. Pour it. It gets that thick, frothy foam on top from the espresso. It's like a beautiful drink. It's so garnished. It like look cool. So I think the trend with those is here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Well, no, I mean, I think it replaces the vodka Red Bull at night, right? Like if you're a vodka Red Bull person, right? Like it's your natural change from a caffeination perspective. And if, you know, it's a great nightcap drink, right? Where a whiskey drinker.
It's a great nightcap, and it is. And I'm like, also a great brunch drink.
Oh, true. And see, a bourbon drinker just stops drinking cocktails and they just get one nice, heavy, dark pour at the end of the night. And you're like, we got to cut out all the sugar and we go with, you know, the finest, I don't know, since it's right here in front of me, like we grab a Wyoming whiskey, right? Like, and this is the double cask, it's cognac finished, right? So we do something a little bit more rich, depth, and complex. Or you go to a cordial, right? Like if you're enjoying, you know, port, not my thing, but people do it, right?
Absolutely.
So it is very interesting. I just feel like that's a lot of caffeine right before bed, but
It is. We do them with decaf also.
oh, there you go. You got your decaffeinated version. That's important. And then the one question, that we've seen the rise of here, like from a media perspective, just curious, as it hits you is the pairing, right? Cocktail pairings with food. Do you all get into kind of partnering with your culinary team to be able to craft cocktails that go along with the food that they might be offering at the hotel?
Yeah, so every year we do an Epicurean classic event here at the homestead where, the chefs, it's a demonstration class, really. They'll teach you how to make all these different things. I teach you how to make cocktails. We curate together to make sure that everything flows. On not the cocktail side, but we do a ton of wine dinners that are very much paired here as well. Cocktail dinners are something that we should probably start doing where we're pairing the food and cocktail, for dinner. And then we do bourbon tastings where, we'll pair with like a charcuterie, and it's like we'll take a sip of the bourbon and then a bite of the strawberry, see how that affects the taste, type of thing.
Yeah.
So we're for sure pairing and doing things like that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that experiential thing, right? Like, all the data is coming out saying people are drinking less, but they're willing to spend more on the experiential part of it. And I think that's what's interesting to me is as someone who's in this space, like I want to enjoy it. I would rather have one or two versus 10 because I don't want to feel like poop the next day. I mean, that's just kind of where I'm in life with two little kids running around. But that's the thing that we got to think about is you want that experiential environment. And I think those food pairings or cocktail pairings are really cool. And so there you go. There's an idea to take back to the team is, create a cocktail. I saw on one of the social medias, like even taking one drink, like the old fashioned and riffing it with tequila, bourbon, and another spirit. And then you could kind of pair that with different, elements of a meal, like something brighter with the tequila, more lime, switch out your citrus, right? That you might be using. That could be a fun way to riff it all.
Absolutely. The tequila old fashions are all the rage right now.
They are, I know they're all the rage and tequila is all the rage, but like people don't realize dark aged rum old fashions are like the substitute. You get you a nice like 4 square with some age on it, mix that up. I'm all about the rum old fashioned. Not enough people are in on that, but not enough people are in on rum. Rum is still super inexpensive for the value.
Rum is gonna up and come. It's gonna trend like everything else is trend. It's coming. It's coming. All the liquor trends.
Yeah. I mean, I hope. I mean, there's a lot of great rum. The Caribbean produces a lot of great stuff and America produces a lot of great stuff. So I think that's what's the most interesting thing about it is you're going to be able to see a rum explosion because not like some spirits where it's very regional, it can be more global in nature.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be made anywhere. That's cool.
Yeah. So one last question, what is your pitch to get someone to come and stay at your all's resort and have one of your many cocktails?
Oh, staying at the homestead, it's an easy pitch. This is really, truly one of the most incredible resorts in the world, probably not even just America. We have everything that you could ever want to do here. And our food and beverage is just unmatched. I mean, every aspect of it. Cocktails by the pool, cocktails at the presidential lounge. We have great sports bar. We have a ski lodge. You can't go wrong staying here. I mean, it's an incredible property.
Well, it sounds like I need to pack the wife up and pack Scott and his wife up and head on over because it sounds like a great time with great food and beverage. And I'm a sucker for some good food.
Yeah, we would love to
along with my drinks. Well, Krista, thanks for joining Thursday Thoughts. And we appreciate you just giving a little insight. And, our thought is go check out the Omni Homestead in Virginia and you won't regret it. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Cheers.